at some point, and being an old SNCC worker, colleague Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, Jabil Alameen, H. Rap Brown, we knew that we had to assist in the identification of the indigenous leadership and help them to mature and to develop their leadership. So it wasn't a question of big I's and little U's, but a question of who could step up at the time that they were needed. So as they scattered everybody throughout the state of South Carolina, the brothers began rebuilding. And at the same time, the state brought together in Lee County all the different folk that they knew had beefs with one another. And they locked them into dormitories and turned their backs and left them to go at one another. And while it was reported that 7 people died, it was actually 12 people who died. Over 20 were hospitalized, and some of them died as well. Since that occurred, the brothers have been busy rebuilding their defenses in order to go on the offense. And they've been able to do that because they have been able to have access to the master teachers and standard bearers here in California. Lessons learned, transmitted intergenerationally. So the lessons that were learned here are now the lessons that brothers in South Carolina and throughout the country are beginning to reapply. One of the first things that they did was to take the example of organizing street-based organizations, instituting the process of agreements to end all hostilities. They've just about done that in every prison in South Carolina. The administration is, of course, not asleep. They are well aware of the strike, and they've been watching people. On Thursday night, they went to Ridgeland County Prison, and they snatched up one brother who was a brilliant teacher and organizer. They carried him from Ridgeland and put him in the hole in Evans, which is halfway across the state. They didn't just have correction officers to take him out. They sent state troopers and the public affairs director so that they can begin to shape the narrative. We can't allow that to happen. It's obviously not about cell phones. It's not about who's going to control the trade. It's about who's going to get free. And we must never allow them to characterize it as anything else. These brothers have been studying for at least the past 5 years. We have passed the CD Kumasi Speaks throughout the prison system in the state of South Carolina. talking in large measure of what you've been listening to here today, and I suspect some of you have already heard at your previous times. But how do you survive? How do you organize and survive the retaliation? How do you go on a hunger strike and sustain yourself? And sustain the tension that develops between each other during that time period. The ICCPR, which is the International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights. And the fourth is CAT, the Convention Against Torture. On each occasion, we were successful in having USA Civil Rights Era, COINTELPRO prisoners expressly recognized. Herman Wallace of the Angola Free name was specifically mentioned, and the United States called on to inform the UN Human Rights Council as to actions taken on his behalf and that of all civil rights era COINTELPRO political prisoners, prisoners of war, and political activists. That language is very important because the United Nations, like every other institution, has its own language. And we're not going to go in there and get them to change their language. In fact, we don't even want them to change their language. We just want them to say enough of what we want said that we can use to establish and affirm to the rest of the world what they already know, and that is that the United States is not the gold standard for human rights. So, when the United States goes back, supposed to go back in December, but we know that the United States has withdrawn from the Human Rights Council. But it is under a demand from the Third Treaty Review Committee to report what exactly it is doing for all of the prisoners and the conditions under which they are held. Not just civil rights era COINTELPRO prisoners, but all prisoners in custody in the United States. There are other aspects of the work that we've done, but my focus has been on the condition of prisoners, medical neglect. We were able to deliver Rochelle McGee's petition for clemency. Woo! The one that got off of Barack Obama ignored, but it's a part of the global human rights record. That's right. So in Greenville, in Columbia, South Carolina, Greenville is where I live, we will open this season of rebellion with a press conference from all segments of the community, the faith community. We have ministers who are drafting sermons and services as to what is the full meaning of the verse that says, when I was in prison, you visited me not. What is your duty as a Christian? That's what you claim to be. we will have Muslims to draft such a sermon, taking verses or surah from the Quran, so that the ecumenicism of our community is fully represented. We will pour libations on April 21st at the governor's mansion when we go to deliver the demands of the Free South Carolina movement. We will read George Jackson's books in the presence, in the front of detention centers and prisons across the state of South Carolina. We'll have banner drops throughout the state, done by our allies who are at this moment in Charlottesville and Washington, D.C. There'll be other demonstrations at Lee County on the 25th and at the State House on the 8th. There hopefully will be one at the McCormick Prison, where the entire prison has been reduced to solitary confinement, with the state spending millions of dollars to put stainless steel plates over the windows so that they cannot see in or out, and they have only artificial light 24 hours a day. In other prisons, they have black the windows out. We want them removed. If they've got $19 million to spend for militarization of the prison and the violation of the dignity and worth of our brothers and sisters in those prisons, that $19 million can be used for fully staffing the education and rehabilitation programs. That's our ultimate demand in the process of moving for abolition, which has to be our ultimate goal. There is no prison reform. So we call on you to keep South Carolina in mind as you look at San Quentin and all the prisons across the country. And you go to the Facebook page of the Free South Carolina Movement and like that page. Have other people to like that page. And pay attention when we send out a call for telephone alerts, for Twitter storms, because it is us on the outside who are going to keep those on the inside from being murdered, literally or figuratively. They are counting on us. Power to the people.
All right, give it up for our keynote speakers. That's what we really here for. You got to consider that that's what we really here for. I've been informed and I just came out of the kitchen and it's smelling good back there, and at 7